What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to talk about the bigger time frames for Tesla, SPY, and the QQQ. I'm also going to talk about some very important lessons in day trading you can learn from what we're seeing right here. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, looking at SPY on the weekly time frame, we are looking quite bullish right now. As you guys can see, looking at this candlestick, it basically resembles like something that we've seen in the past where SPY just continued to push. And on top of this, as it's just continuing to look this way, SPY remains quite strong and quite bullish in my personal opinion. So with the market remaining this way, the question is what's going to happen from here? Well, it depends on 555. On SPY, if we do get an initial drop, I'll be watching for a retest of like 515. Then we could bounce off that and continue as we look quite bullish, in my opinion, especially on the weekly MACD. But if things were to shift, if I pull up like the 30 minutes time frame, just real quick to show you something. From the way I see things, SPY has this like really nice rally that developed, and we're actually holding it very well. So I'd be watching a key Fibonacci area just to see some support zones, some key fib retracement areas as well. So I'd be watching to see how things develop. So if you take like a Fibonacci chart like this, for instance, and you just kind of draw it like this, you guys can see our 0.618 retracement is actually way around 547, but the 0.5 is at 548. I don't think we're going to be dipping that low. I wouldn't count on it unless we lose 550. I don't think we're going to be dipping like that crazily. If we do get a little dip, we should be getting a nice bounce and then continue to go higher, at least later on during the week. For next week, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech on Tuesday. He has his testimony. On Wednesday, Jerome Powell is giving another speech. So we have two speeches from Jerome Powell, one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday. Thursday is when we have CPI data coming out. And then Friday is when we have PPI data, not to mention the big bank earnings from JP Morgan Chase and others. It's going to be a very crazy week. So I can't wait to see what this leads to. But I just want to say something very important about like day trading in general. What I noticed, and I actually have friends that are still going through this, where they keep trying to short SPY. They keep thinking that, hey, we're going to fall. It can't go any higher. And it just keeps going higher and higher. They end up just blowing their entire portfolios. So always remember a very important lesson. And that is, you could be wrong. I could be wrong. We all could be wrong. And the market doesn't care. The market doesn't care about what you think about it. The market doesn't care about what I think. It just does what it has to do. And we are just sitting on the sidelines. We're just very small compared to how massive this market is, right? The market is worth trillions and trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars are moving this market. You and I are probably trading with thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions. It's still insignificant compared to how much the market is worth. So we're not moving the S&P 500 the way you may think retail is, and they're not really doing that. What's happening is we're being baited, and we have a lot of traps being set for us. Because when we lose, the person on the other end is winning, whether it's some retail, it may not even just be retail. It's mainly just like Wall Street and these other, hedge funds and such. So when you look at this, you have to think about how when you lose money day trading, the money doesn't disappear. The money is going to someone else, just someone on the opposite end of that trade. If you go short, someone else is going long. And it's those market makers who are just taking advantage of retail by They hire psychologists just to get us to do things. So when they pump the market higher, they know that retail is shorting. They're going to double it down. They're going to keep pumping, and you make so much money off of us. It's our money. It's disappearing. It's going back down. So what do you do to offset this? And this is one of the most important things about day trading. The answer is you have to understand your own biases. Okay? What does that mean? Maybe you keep telling yourself, the market's going to crash. The market's going to crash. The market doesn't just crash. And if you keep thinking that, you keep shorting, you notice you're losing money, you have to be doing something wrong. Imagine a very strong day trader. Imagine someone that's really good at day trading that makes so much money. Well, how come they're making money and then you've been losing money on these trades? That means they're doing something different from you. My point is, you may think you're right, and you may try to short the market, and you may be wrong. And then instead of just kind of adjusting, instead of trying to realize what's going on, you try to double down again. You keep shorting again and again and again, and the market just takes your money away. That's how the market's designed. It's designed to trick retail. And you have to get out of the matrix. You have to escape this mindset that is binding you and making you lose money on your trades. So the epitome of this was SPY for the week. The last 3 days, it's been just straight up pumping. There was a moment where when I was trading, I tried to short. It didn't work out. So what did I do? I exited my short. I went back to long, and I made crazy money. Not trying to brag about it, but I'm just trying to say that I recognized that SPY was breaking some key levels and was going to continue to go higher. That's the reason why I call out levels. I think that that's one of the most important ways to trade. Understand the levels, understand how if we break one level, there's another one coming up. When you understand this, this is what's going to help you make better gains. So for a hypothetical example, right, we had this pattern where SPY had this resistance right here at 545.8. As we broke through this, we started to push. This was your signal that we're breaking out of this. So I wouldn't have shorted right here because it started breaking out. So I would have just like exited. I would have known that this is going up to 547. I would have taken my long right there. You know, you have to like be able to adjust very, very quickly, and you have to be very fast. You can't be slow in doing this. Sometimes the market moves very fast in a few seconds. So you have to understand that. Another example is when you look at the MACD, look at the MACD on the 30 minutes time. This could be very helpful. On Wednesday, the MACD was wide open. We were falling a bit. And then as we started pushing, it started turning. This was your signal. This is turning back to bullish. It's turning. And then we continue to push, right? We had a very similar, identical setup today, on Friday at least. MACD was open, but you had to be patient, give it time. And as time went on, if you saved your funds, you would have noticed that this is turning. The market was getting ready for a push, and we started breaking past 552. That was your signal. This thing is going to go parabolic. You could have taken a nice scalp here. You could have taken a nice trade and actually made some good money if you had just been very patient. So if you're stuck in the matrix of just shorting the market forever, remember, the market doesn't care. It doesn't care what you think. It doesn't care what I think. It will take your money. It doesn't care. So why try to outsmart the market when in reality we should just try to follow the market, follow what the market's doing, follow the trend? Okay, how do you identify the trend? Well, my videos could provide you a lot of support with that, right? I'm not giving financial advice, but I'm showing you how you should kind of view things as we're riding some key levels. Back test a strategy. Maybe you could go on YouTube and look up different strategies, because I can't just give you all the strategies, because different strategies could work for different people. Different people have different perspectives. There's a bunch of different strategies that could work. Look at one example. There's a very easy example. Look at the green line right here. Do you guys see this green line? This is our 20 EMA on the 30 minutes time frame. Notice that every time SPY touches this, these are potential entries. This could have been like a nice entry right here. It pumped. Okay, it dipped a bit, but we rode the 20 EMA again. This is another entry. It pumped. When we tested this today, we bounced off of this. This is another potential entry. We pumped higher. That's one specific example, right? Back test, and then you need to be looking at how many times do you win, how many times do you lose. You need data. Because if your strategy is not working and you're losing the majority of the time, what are you doing? If you don't have the discipline and the worth ethic to like put in all this time to tracking how you're doing, you're not going to succeed at trading. You need to come up with a good strategy. You could look on YouTube, you could test different things, and you have to be like a scientist. You have to experiment. You don't need to have fancy degrees to day trade and be a scientist day trader, right? You could be like a scientist by just experimenting with what you think has been working in the past, with testing different trades. So the number one thing I want to tell you guys is you have to understand your own biases. You have to understand who's influencing you when it comes to decisions you make. Are you watching someone on YouTube that keeps screaming, the market's going to crash tomorrow, it's going to crash? So you start shorting and then you just lose your money. Is that what you're doing? Because that's not how I would go about things. That's why in my videos, I always go over the bullish and bearish case, because I'm always open-minded. I'm a person that knows that the market could go either way when you least expect it, especially because so much news could be coming out. But because you're always open-minded for any direction, when no matter what happens, you're always prepared, you're always ready. But I've been telling you guys for the last few weeks, the market's looking bullish, and SPY has been pushing very, very nicely. That's why I always have these levels drawn out on it. Tesla's another example. We've been riding our EMAs very nicely, holding up very, very well, continuing this uptrend. It's remained quite bullish, at least overall. And then if you pull up like the 1 hour time frame, I'm just going to double check this. Notice how on the 1 hour it's been hovering above its this is the 20 EMA as well. So starting since like Monday, it's been just hopping through this. We had the deliveries, so that also played a big role. But we continued to push and push with nice momentum that was developing. We remained bullish the entire time. And we also had this nice inverse head and shoulders setup, so it was looking bullish. So Tesla still looks very bullish. I think it's going to eventually run up to the 260s, but there's a big but. We might consolidate a bit right over here, but we still look bullish technically speaking. Now, when I say that, excuse me, when I say that, that does not mean just YOLO into it. I mean, some people probably made crazy money just YOLOing into Tesla, but doing that for the long term is not going to be profitable because you have to understand the importance of being very disciplined when trying to day trade. Because the market is designed to take money from most people unless you have that discipline to know when to exit, to know when to get in, get out, to understand your entries. You have to kind of like study all those different things. But like I said before, I think the number one thing I want to tell you is just you have to learn to understand what matrix you are living in. Okay, we all have our own biases. No one is perfect. And when I say that, you have to ask yourself, was I one of those Tesla bears? Was I shorting Tesla? Was I screaming, it's going to crash, it's going to crash, it's going to crash? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself, was I a perma bull? Are you a little bit too bullish on Tesla to the point where you just think it's going to explode forever? I'm telling you this, there might be a little retracement that could come. We called out the 250 area as a tough resistance, which is where Tesla ended up actually kind of struggling a bit, but it did get bought back up, which is now showing some strength. But you guys can see it didn't just soar past 250. We hit above it, came down, above, down, above. It's been all over the place. So it took quite some time to really get this to move. But overall, Tesla still remains bullish, at least from the overall trend. So I want to make it clear that as a day trader, I know people get annoyed when I say, hey, there's a bullish case, there's a bearish case. They say, just give me one case. Well, the truth is, I do tell you guys what my bias is, where I favor one side over the other. I say it in every single video if you listen carefully. So like right now, my bias for Tesla is more towards the upside direction. I think we might consolidate a bit here, but we will eventually go higher. But even though I say that, I have the levels there for you just in case something goes wrong and Tesla does end up turning back down, because you never know what could happen sometimes. And when you're day trading, you have to have that speed. You have to have that reaction. You have to know that, hey, something's shifting in the chart. Let me, let me adjust my stop loss. Let me save myself in case something goes wrong. Treat trading like a video game. You're playing a video game, and your goal is to make a lot of money, and you have to protect your money as much as you can. That's why you manage risks and you have stop losses. You don't go all in on one stock, because if something does go haywire, you blow your entire portfolio in just a day, and that's not what you want to do, right? Non-financial advice. That's just me talking about the market. You know what I mean? Anyways, QQQ. It's looking very bullish on the 4-hour time frame. We're going to have some tough resistance around 196.5. If we break that, we'll continue to go, but we're looking pretty good in my opinion. Weekly is looking very strong on the triple Q. You guys can see how when we get these big green bars, we continue to go. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of retrace a bit, then we continue higher. We just keep going from here. But nonetheless, QQQ looks very, very bullish. It looks like it has a nice trend. I actually like how it's looking right here. It's actually holding its EMAs very nicely, so you guys can see how it bounced off the 50 EMA back in October, continued to go higher, went a little bit below the 20 before continuing to go higher, and since then it's been hovering above this key EMA. So it's looking good, very, very good, very, very strong, very bullish. Don't let anyone fool you and say the market's going to crash just yet. Don't call it top yet. There's no sign whatsoever of that, considering that SPY and QQQ were making all-time highs towards close. That tells me that even if we do trace just a little bit, because we're at a new level, at tough resistance on SPY and the QQQ, doesn't mean that we're going to crash. We could just retrace a few points to continue higher because the charts remain bullish. So this is what happens to me sometimes. Sometimes I accidentally take a short, or I can make a mistake, or I can be wrong sometimes. What am I going to do? Am I going to keep shorting and then doubling down? No, I'm very conscious of the fact that the market could have a direction. Sometimes my biases could be wrong. So I exit, take profits, or I even not take profits. I just take a loss sometimes, and I adjust, and then I go long, and then I make my money doing the opposite thing, because I'm very adaptive. My brain, my mindset completely changes. I'm willing to go from being a little bit more bearish to bullish all of a sudden the same day. I could switch in a second, depending on like data, depending on the chart. And that's how you have to be able to make these trades. You have to be very adaptive. You can't be too biased and let that get the best of you. That's a very, very important lesson for trading. So with that being said, I really love to make videos like this where I don't really focus too much on technical analysis. I just kind of talk more about trading in general. But you have to understand this. We retail investors are known for revenge trading. People like lose money trying to short SPY. What do? They double down on their shorts. They triple down until they lose all their money. That's very common, guys. So you have to understand the game of patience. If you don't know what the market's doing, if it's just going kind of up and down really fast, it's choppy. Wait, you don't have to take a trade. You don't even have to take a trade every single day. You could watch the market for 2 hours and not take a single trade if you don't find a good entry. That's what discipline is. I know amazing traders that do that, where they watch the market for like two straight days, right? They don't do anything. They wait for such a good entry, and then on the third day, their entry is so good that they make hundreds of thousands of dollars that same day, right? Why? It took them 2 days of waiting, super, super strong patience. And then when they got their entry, they said, hey, this is it. They get in, make their tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're out. So I'm just trying to say that you need to be very disciplined, and you have to be open to the possibility that anyone could be wrong. The best day traders of all time could be wrong. Everyone could be wrong. We all make mistakes. So don't let your mistakes get the best of you. Review them and know that you have to be able to adjust no matter what. Adjust, adjust, adjust. That is the most important thing. Test your strategy, test the way you're trading, and see what is working. What works, keep doing it. If it doesn't work, be careful. Okay? So that being said, I mean, I hope that my words at least brought some wisdom, some knowledge to a lot of you guys out there. I want to say I really appreciate the community and all the people out there who are trying to trade. But just know, trading is difficult. It's going to take a lot out of you. It took a lot out of me to find the success that I have. But I'll tell you this, if you work hard, if you persevere, and you keep learning from your mistakes, you can be very successful at this, and you can make life-changing wealth. It's incredible, the feelings, the experiences, and it really opens doors in your lives that you never would have imagined. But I just want to say, it's not easy. It's not easy whatsoever. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you lose money. You're never going to make money. So you have to adjust. You have to be able to change your mindset. This may sound very mediocre when I say this, but when you actually apply this to your trading and your life, it's going to be such a big lesson. It's all those small, very, very simple lessons that have some of the most important impacts, in my opinion. I noticed that in life. I noticed that in trading. And with that being said, I just want to thank you all very much one more time. So please enjoy your weekend. Enjoy this weekend. I mean, I think some people may consider this the 4th of July weekend. It's still technically going on. So who says it has to be just a one-day weekend? It could just be, this weekend too. Have fun, guys. Take care, and I'll see you guys very soon tomorrow. Thank you for listening, and peace out.